Welcome to the debrief. Had a bit of a chastening afternoon for Orient. Terry, what was your assessment of the game?
Well, I think we said at half time, we've never really recovered from a bad start, did we? We were like chasing our tails all afternoon. There was some promise in the first half at 2-1, and then we go away another poor goal. And the second half played out exactly how Wycombe wanted it to play out. They set deeper. The goal would have been what we were looking for, ball over the top, with their pace up front. So from their point of view, the manager done the right thing. But from us, it was difficult from a very sloppy start.
I mean, we've not had the 3 o'clock kickoffs at this exact moment, but Wycombe have conceded 27 goals in most of the division. It felt like a return to the earlier part of the season, unfortunately.
Disappointing, frustrating, it really did, because we began by saying how hopeful we were after how strong the defence had looked, thinking we may have got over that awful start to the season with all these goals conceded. And as we were chatting about, even the goal we scored, all 5 goals were almost shouldn't have happened, because they took them well, but the defending today wasn't great. So yeah, a really annoying afternoon, really.
If we look at the second half chances first, I mean, Wellens had a chance earlier on in that second half. Wycombe started brightly, but then we realised that actually it was, at least Orient started brightly, but we realised it was kind of Wycombe kind of sitting back. But I wouldn't have thought they would have invited that sort of pressure on themselves early when you've got the likes of Ballard and Connolly who can cause you so much trouble.
I mean, we say like, that the manager got it right, and because the end product is they've won 4-1 Wycombe. If we had got the next goal, it would have been interesting, and we might have been saying a different story, because obviously momentum would have been with us. But unfortunately, we just, as I say, the longer the game went, you could see it was sort of just fading away. If we get a goal in that first 10-15 minutes, second half, as I say, it would have given us something really to go for. But in the end, it kind of fizzled out.
And you can see here from this example, you called it early on and saying they're not pushing up second half, they're literally waiting to catch us one more time on the break and the game's over. You can see it here, kind of think of the balls that were going in diagonally first half compared to this in the second half, where they kind of they were trying to come at you a little bit, but they weren't really trying to have a go at you at all.
No, it was classic game management, wasn't it? They were happy for us to have the ball, they were very compact. We had a couple of good crosses come in. As I say, the first 10-15, it looked quite lively, but nothing came of it, and that's when you just need something to put a bit of doubt in their head. But we couldn't manage that.
We had the chance when they broke exactly their plan halfway through, and a fantastic tackle from Tom James to stop them going through and wrapping the game up just before the goal.
Yeah. At half time, we were very critical of Tom James, and I think quite rightly, because he didn't, out of position for the goals, but. Okay, it ended up 4-1. It could well have done there, but that was a good tackle. You could see the compliments from the goalkeeper, and that just shows that he can do it. But in the first half, he just wasn't quick enough. It was a hard afternoon for him, and again, will other teams look at Orient now and think, well, if we play down the flanks against them, they're not that great.
Then the goal comes, and again, it's not dissimilar to the chance they've just had. Exactly what they wanted to do.
Hopeful ball again. It's just a bread and butter ball, as I said in the first half. Omar would be disappointed. He didn't deal with it. He was in a 1-in-1 situation. He was a bit unlucky. He's made a decent save. But maybe that summed up the afternoon. Their players first to the ball. He's reacted quick enough, and that was kind of the story of the day, wasn't it?
And again, the reaction again was quicker from their strikers than the Orient defenders.
Literally, exactly. As it went in, we said, look, there's 2 Orient defenders there, but Bell got there first and put it in. I think if you look at all the goals, all the Wycombe players who scored were surrounded by Orient defenders, but they got there and they were sharper throughout. Yeah.
So we just take a look at the end. I mean, that Orient had a shot just towards the end, again, which didn't really come to anything, but just about, the commentators called it, but they said it's, just about sums up the afternoon.
Yeah. As I say, it's a decent enough effort. It wouldn't have made any difference at the end of the day, but as I say, well done to the keeper. He's got down well. It maybe if we'd have got a chance like that and scored at the start of the second half. As I say, goals change games. It changes the mindset of managers on both sides. But we just didn't ask enough questions.
It give you a little bit of hope in terms of trying to take some positives from the game. In terms of they kept going, they stuck at it. Okay, heads were going down, but they having a shot right at the death there. They kept going. They kept trying.
They did. As I said at half time, I think they're a better side with Charlie Wellens in the team, and I'm sure he'll start next week against Exeter. We've now got, I think, 3 home matches out of 4, which Orient have got to capitalise on. And if they can just revive again, which we've already done 2 or 3 times this season, but it's such an inconsistent division. As we've always said, if you can get going in this division, you're going to do pretty well. But Orient today wasn't good, but I think Wellens will definitely start. So yeah, a few little signs, but not a good afternoon. You could see at 75 minutes all the fans leaving.
Yeah, I think it's quite strange that you kind of get some clubs. You said it's not a happy hunting ground. Both of you said the same thing. It's not a happy. It's funny, isn't it? How managers change, teams change, completely different players. Yeah. But that one place, you just all the fans now go, oh God, here we go again. It's this again. You're lucky if we get anything here, and sure enough, here we are.
Yeah, well, as the guys were saying in commentary, 3-0 and 4-1, and Richie Wellens 3-2, I think it was, and Richie Wellens sent off a few years ago. Yeah. But the start didn't help, I think. Well, in fact, not the start. The second goal didn't help. That I know we're going to look about that in a sec. But I just felt from that moment we could just had the upper hand. And I know obviously they won 4-1, but they just did. It was not a great afternoon or a place to be again.
If we go back and recap the first half, and Terry, you called it as soon as you saw it. There was a couple of examples where the defenders weren't maybe at it from the first bell, and a little bit of defending where they were giving the ball away early twice on, and nothing came of it, but it was a sign of things to come. Yeah,
so when you play away from home, the one thing you want to do first 10-15 is keep it tight. We invited the problem onto ourselves because we gave the same pass twice, two different players, but the same pass twice, and put us on the back foot. It not only sort of knocks your confidence a bit, it gives them impetus as well, and they capitalised on it. And as I say, I said before, we never really recovered from that sloppy start, and I'm sure that won't be lost on Richie.
And also, it was, the sloppy start in terms of time. That was twice within the first couple of minutes. Then we look at the goal at 1-0, and that came 3.5 minutes into the game. It was almost continuous for the start of the game, right at the start of the game.
Absolutely. So that's, I mean, as I said before, I don't know if Tom's deeper to the two centre halves and played them on. We haven't got that.
It's very hard to tell if he's offside for sure.
But regardless of that, that can't happen. There's two players. There's not just one player there. There's two. That can't be right. And it's just a hopeful ball over the top. And as I say, he's taken it ever so well. That's a great finish. So poor from our point.
Well, it was interesting. I saw Happy had his hand up, and Beckles did as well. Did they expect Tom to be in line with them? Was it just Tom's error? But equally, he was a long way back. It's not like he was just a minuscule way back.
The thing there, in that situation, the fullback is the one who's in control of the line. Because he can see right along the line. Dan can't be there holding his hand up. He's got to follow his man until he's told otherwise. The fullback is the governor there. And I don't know whether Tom has communicated with them or not. I don't know, but we look all over the shop there. We've got two centre halves ahead of our fullback, and that can't be right.
If we take a look at the second goal again, not dissimilar, but I always think one of those. Sometimes you have to go as a side. You go, well, okay, disappointing defending, but boy, he's done well on your dimmer twice.
Yeah, he took it really well, and again. Tom beaten. That touch was superb. Maybe the goalkeeper was slightly unlucky. I thought at first he should have saved it, but maybe on reflection not. But look at the gap there. It was just. In fact, we thought the minute he got it, that's 2-1. And Tom was just outpaced.
It's a shame we haven't got another angle there, but it'd be interesting where Tom was initially. I don't know what his starting position was there, because he as a fullback, you always have to be on the inside of the attacker. And there, it just looks like his starting position is all wrong, but we don't actually see that from the camera angle.
For sure.
But the gap there did actually seem almost equidistant where he was on the first goal to the centre half. So maybe he was too back, but not quick enough.
Yeah, and the third goal again, equally the defending from the corner. It just seemed there were too many players free to be able to do almost whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the boy makes the run off the near post.
He comes
away from the goal, doesn't he? Is that?
And then he runs.
In a second. And even there, look, we're looking at. I don't know. We're more interested. We're more interested in looking at the player and fighting the player rather than actually looking at the ball. I mean, you always talk. You've got to keep your eye on the ball and look at the player, but get your arm up. Not pull on their shirt, but just get your arm up.
Yeah.
But all we're doing there is just fighting the players, and no one's actually watching anyone who's making the run.
Yeah. And that went through three or players, four players it went through before it got to the.
But as I said to you, normally you will have a player, even if they've got a fella anywhere near the near post, you'll have one inside him and one on the outside of him. It didn't look like we had anyone starting on the outside of him there who might have been able to deal with the ball coming in and clear it.
I mean, that first half, we can look at the Don Ballard chance here towards the end of that first half, but it kind of summed up how open the game was in that first half. You're going, well, yeah, Orient have conceded 3, but if the game continues like this, it, like you said, could end up 5-5.
We said that at half time, exactly, and that was a shame. They could have gone in at 3-2. It would have made a difference when it does. When
this was Connolly's great work, and I thought he did really well.
Yeah, Connolly, you know, I think he's actually their best player, I thought, throughout.
Yeah.
You know, can't fault his consistency. But
I'm convinced if we'd have got a goal either side of half time, that would have been a very different game.
You're right.
You know, but unfortunately we couldn't get that goal.
And Ballard was really unlucky because he's done really well when it's kind of keepers. It's almost hit the keeper, and then he's not been able to keep the rebound down. It's flown over, like you say. It makes it 3-2 at that stage. And like, okay, this could get interesting now.
Yeah.
But as you said at the start of the second half, Orient had so much possession, but Wycombe managed it really well. They had a great plan to try and get us on the breakaway, and in the end it worked. But you're right, if we'd scored early on, if that Welling shot had gone in, who knows?
I might be clutching at straws, but a few minutes for the subs. Alfie Lloyd we haven't seen much of so far this season, obviously because he's been injured. Take a little bit from that, at least they've got a few minutes under their belt.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it'll be interesting over the next few games how that develops, because obviously Alfie Lloyd will be looking to get a start in the team. He's going to have a bit of a job with Don Ballard and Aaron Connolly playing so well, you know. So it'll be interesting to see how we sort of mix and match that and manage it, you know. And as I said, as Richard said earlier, I'd like to see Charlie Wellens involved a bit more, because I think he's been a breath of fresh air this season. I think he's been so good, and probably a little bit unlucky not to start a few more games.
Well, thanks for watching the debrief. It's a tough afternoon for Orient. Join us again next time.